Hi, it's Ed Oakley with Enlightened Leadership Solutions. A lot of people have shown an interest in our upcoming webinar series on leading change in difficult times. I guess that shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Now, one of the things we've been getting is a lot of people have been sharing things that they would like to see in the program, and we encourage you to do that as well, through email, through comments, any way you want to do that. So, because right now we're integrating the pieces that people were saying they wanted into the program to the best of our ability. So while we organize that and do that integration, we're going to provide a series of learning videos, short videos over the next 2 to 3 weeks about different aspects of managing and leading change. And this is the first one of that series. Now, to kick off the series, this video provides an overview of what we've identified as the 7 steps to successful change initiatives that we have derived over the years of working with our clients in many change management kinds of initiatives. So let's go through the 7 steps, if you will. And by the way, we'll give you a handout at the bottom here. You can get a handout. There'll be a link that you can download the handout that will show you the 7 steps as well as the model we're about to show you. All right, step 1. Think through and plan the change initiative by using the Enlightened Leadership Dynamic Change Model as a checklist to assure everything important is considered. Now, before we show you that model, let me make a comment here. So, there are 2 kinds of change initiatives, at least 2 kinds. One is that you've got this idea, you want to make some changes, and that's your change initiative. But then there's the other kind, the ones that are passed down to you, sometimes dumped on you, and you've got to implement. Regardless of which one it is, you still want to plan this. And we'd like to provide you a model that will give you a checklist. So let's take a look at that model now. Now, the model looks kind of complex, but in truth it takes a very challenging situation, that is, significant substantive change, and breaks it out into all the components you need to look at. So for now, we're not going to look at the individual components, but just think of them as a checklist. You want to make sure, well, have we handled the capability requirements? Have we had good workforce involvement? These are the kinds of things that we want to look at this for. So let's go to step 2. Step 2 is determine which of the 3 primary organizational systems, that is strategy, structure, which is systems and processes and procedures, or behavior, which is the people side. Notice the soft side, the hard side, both in alignment supporting the strategy, if you will. Those are the 3 primary organizational systems. What we found is important is that you cannot realistically address all 3 at the same time. You've got to figure out which is the biggest constraint. And we'll talk about that perhaps more in another video. But having figured out which one is the biggest bottleneck, if you will, then that's the one you want to focus on first. You deal with it, then you go back and find out what the next one is. Okay, let's go back to step 3 then on our list, is recognize where the stakeholders are in terms of their stages of transition and plan accordingly. Now, in another video, we'll talk about 3 stages of transition that people tend to go through, virtually always go through. And it's important for us as leaders to recognize where people are, people, teams, and so forth are, so that we'll know what we need to do, provide the leadership to get them through that section and on to the next stage. All right, step 4. This is so important. Any change creates emotional and psychological challenges for people, including you. So number 4 is deal with your own psychological and emotional issues before trying to support those of other people. That is so critical. Now, you might say, well, how? Well, we'll talk about that in the bigger program, but you got to figure out a way to deal with your own emotional issues around it. Get clear so you're in a position to really lead. All right. Step 5 then is provide the leadership required to optimize people's movement through their transition process, through the stages of transition, to get from where we started, the old way, to the new change and fully engaged in the new change. And of course, we'll be talking a lot about specific leadership approaches for doing that. Step 6, focus on appropriate actions to assess, then address each of the dynamic change management model change elements. All right, let's just take a quick look at what those are. Starting at the top, compelling communication, capability requirements, system alignment, are the systems aligned with the strategy we're trying to accomplish, roles and accountability, workforce involvement, which is a huge piece in the buy-in, and cultural integration, how it fits into the culture that we have here. So these are the different change elements that are important to assess and then address appropriately to make sure we've handled those in the change initiative. And then number 7, and final one, we want to consistently acknowledge little celebrations, if you will, of all the little successes we have along the path of moving through a change initiative. This is huge in terms of supporting the people's energy and creativity. There are going to be problems that come up you cannot predict. You're going to want their creativity and their energy being able to focus on solving those issues. And that energy is going to be important. That's how you get it, celebrating the little successes, if you will. Let's see here. Okay, I hope the overview has been helpful, and we will dive deeper into some of these individual elements that we've talked about, some of the 7 pieces over the next couple of weeks. Now, you want to be sure that you're on the list to get the next video. So look over there somewhere and you'll see a place to opt in. You'll see, put your first name, last name, and email address, and that'll be sure then to get you on the list to get the additional videos. So be sure to do that. And do us a favor, send the link to this video to your friends, to your business associates, to anyone who may get some value out of change and leadership management kinds of perspectives that we're going to be sharing in these videos. We'd be grateful for that. Hey, we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.